I'm Dan Collins with Mercy Medical Center in Baltimore, Maryland, and you're watching our special live edition of Medoscopy. Before we begin today's procedure, I'd like to thank tonight's musical guest, Billy McComiskey, considered one of the most accomplished Irish accordion or box players to emerge from Irish America. What's more, he is the husband of Mercy's own Annie McComiskey, who's in the audience tonight. Now, Billy, just briefly for you, I understand you played at the White House, the Kennedy Center, throughout the United States, Ireland and beyond, and were taught by one of the great masters, Sean McGlynn.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, this accordion belonged to Sean McGlynn, and he left it to me. And he was actually the first box player, as they would call him, and in the green fields of America. You might be familiar with Dr. Mick Maloney. He was a professor of Irish studies up at NYU, and he started a touring group. And he asked around, he did really good research, and he asked Sean McGlynn to do it. So he was a great mentor and a great friend. And the box is lovely too. So.
And was this some of the East Galway style of traditional Irish music you were playing?
It is. Some people would call it, if you go over there, you'd hear, it's funny how the tunes kind of move around, or as they would say, it's different, but it's the same, or it's the same, but it's different. It's different. So if you're in County Clare, you'd hear a tune, and then you'd go to Kerry, and they wouldn't play that one, or they'd have another setting of it. But there were these mountains, the Slieve Aughty Mountains, that would go from kind of north to south. And you this style is kind of all over the place, from down in Clare and all the way up to Mayo. So it's interesting how it kind of travels. And Sean, he was really right there. He was kind of the quintessential East Galway style player. Yeah.
Well, Billy, I want to thank you for setting the festive tone with your music tonight. And it is a night to celebrate, as 150 years ago, this very month, 6 Sisters of Mercy arrived in Baltimore to assume control of a health dispensary. That was Baltimore City Hospital. That became today's Mercy Medical Center. Now, a lot's happened over the last century and a half. And here to talk about all of it are our guests. We have, to my immediate right, Sister Helen Amos, who is the Executive Chair, Mercy's Board of Trustees. We have Dr. David Maine, our President and CEO, Mercy Health Services, and Caroline Senatore. Caroline, what's your title?
I'm the Chief Philanthropy Officer.
There you go. And thank you all for joining us here tonight. And this is our first ever live show with a live studio audience. So applause for you. So let's go back in time. Let's go back to 1874. Now, how was it that 6 sisters, and I'm going to read their names here, Sister Augustine Gwynn, who was the superior, Sisters Gonzaga Mulhern, Borromeo Slattery, Christina Monahan, Veronica Flaherty, and Stanislaus Matthews, those were the 6 sisters, came to Baltimore. Why were they sought out?
Well, actually, they had been in the area for almost 20 years before they became affiliated with what would become the hospital. They started out over in the Poppleton neighborhood, where they took over a tuition-free parish school, St. Peter's Parish. And so they established themselves in the educational arena, moved to create a mother house in Mount Washington, and that's where the 6 sisters were sent from, with all those Irish names that you mentioned. And they were known for not only education, but also the care of the sick. From the Mount Washington Mother House, they had sent sisters to the D.C. area to take care of sick and wounded soldiers around the time of the Civil War. So that the sisters were known both for education and for nursing and organization, which I think the doctors desperately needed. So that's kind of the
That was the
backstory.
quote, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
right.
They really needed it. And we're seeing the benefits today. So, Sister, if those 6 sisters could be with us in the room right now, what do you think they might say about Mercy today?
I think the sisters would be especially pleased with how beautiful and clean our facilities are. A lot of people tell me that. Mercy has a well-deserved reputation as being very clean and beautiful. And I think the sisters would applaud that. I'm told that when they arrived at the city hospital, they had to dig the dirt up off the floor. Conditions were, as they said, deplorable.
Well, they do say cleanliness is next to godliness. Is that not correct?
Exactly.
So, Mercy, there was a time when we weren't too sure whether Mercy was going to stay downtown. And some thought maybe they should move to the suburbs, but that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Why not? Dr. Maine, what do you think about that?
I think time and time again, our governance, our leaders doubled down on Baltimore. We were here for the Baltimore community back in 1874 and really never strayed from that commitment time and time again. Most recently back in 2007 when we issued the debt for the new hospital and built, became part of the skyline here in Baltimore City with a growing presence, growing footprint, providing care in our community, and it's just part of who we are as an organization. They've never looked back from that.
And that is really in keeping with the Sisters' mission. And the essence of the mission is giving back to the community and our neighbors, correct? That's really what it's all about.
Yeah, I think, we collectively feel very lucky to steward to this mission of mercy. And you asked Sister the question about what the sisters might think today, and I think they would see this, they would feel this incredible pride as all nearly 6,000 of us steward to that mission and have great joy and feel the responsibility of doing it. So it's really a special place. We get to care for people and in their most sacred life events, and it's incredibly humbling. It's an incredible privilege, and we take it really seriously. And at the heart of it, that's what we're here to do: is care for people's well-being, and we do that with everything we got.
Well, it makes sense that as part of the whole Mercy Forever, We Are 150 campaign, that Mercy employees would want to kind of demonstrate the mission in action. And so one of the things that took place, we had the We Are 150 Employment Engagement Initiative. There were a lot of different events that happened through the course of the year. We're going to talk a little bit about them. And as we talk about them, the viewers will be able to see photos that were taken from the course of these various events. Let's talk about them a little bit. There was the Port Discovery event. Did both of you attend those, or did you have a chance to participate in that? That was the opportunity to work with some kids.
We were with kids. We had a lot of members of the Mercy family. We had some physicians that attended. I mean, we had incredible participation throughout the entire year of the We Are 150. Dr. Maine was at several, Sister Helen, but it really was an opportunity to engage the entire Mercy family.
And the First Fruit Farm, I saw the photos that came in of people bringing corn in from the crops. I guess it's pretty satisfying to, sometimes you just kind of got to get your hands into the land, as it were.
Exactly.
Ronald McDonald House?
Really special night. Really special night.
That was real special.
Well, what was special about it?
We were there as a team. It was a kind of a broad swath of who Mercy is, from administrators, clinicians, practice providers, managers, and staff. And I think being there together to cook meals for those who were going through something very challenging. Of course, we didn't know what they were, but we saw kids, we saw their parents, and we know that a sick family member, a sick child is just all-consuming, and being able to be there to support that. Not just in the name of mercy, it was the kind of thing that just made you go home and feel good about what you're doing, and kind of like how we feel every day with the work we do. You just felt good about giving back to this community in need, and we're really proud of how our Mercy family came together to do that and work with the great folks at Ronald McDonald House.
And getting back to the spirit of the sisters, it was in the early story of the Sisters. The Sisters of Mercy were different. They were called the Walking Sisters because they went out to minister to the people instead of being in the convent and cloistered and having the students come to them. They went out into the neighborhoods. So this was another way of demonstrating that our partners in mission are doing what the sisters did.
Partners in mission like Be More for Healthy Babies. We had the I'm a Mercy Baby event for people who have given birth here or been born here themselves. I always remember the story about Frank Zappa being born here. For those of you who remember who Frank Zappa is. Everyone remember who Frank Zappa is?
Sure.
All right, there's a few laughs in there. Okay. A wonderful musician. And various things at what was known as the Seed School. There was a Thanksgiving blessing and run up to Juneteenth. Any thoughts on any of these events?
It's a really wonderful organization. I have a close colleague that I've worked with in the past. It's the only boarding school in Baltimore, and so much of the work that they do aligns with what we do. So we had many people participate in the Fall Thanksgiving Feast, and then we were back at their June event. But like us, you know, they make great efforts to engage people in the community, and our whole idea was, let's come together for the greater good. It was really satisfying, and I know that we're already receiving requests from people saying, what's happening with Seed School this year? Is there another Thanksgiving blessing opportunity? So I think the We Are 150 really caught on like wildfire, and I think it's going to continue for many, many years to come.
We're going to talk a little bit about that some more, but we'll take a short break to share with the viewers a special retrospective highlight video of some of the very events we've just discussed.
From the cobblestone roads of Dublin to the streets of Baltimore, 150 years ago, 6 Sisters of Mercy arrived in Baltimore on a mission to address the community's healthcare needs and more. This past year, Mercy Medical Center has striven to honor the tradition of the Sisters of Mercy as staff has undertaken a number of efforts to give back to the people we serve. From our time working with Port Discovery to help families of young children develop and grow, parading our Irish roots as part of the growing downtown community on St. Patrick's Day, volunteering at our Daily Bread and at Ronald McDonald House, harvesting corn with First Fruit Farm. Our 150th has been a year of partnership, engagement, and giving. As we recognize Mercy's 150th anniversary, we celebrate by showing the people of Baltimore and beyond who we are and what we're about. And who we are is simple. We are dedicated to making a difference in the lives of the sick and those in need. We are committed to our community, to providing quality care in a compassionate setting. We are 150.
Welcome back. We're speaking with... The applause is just such a natural thing. I just love it so much. Welcome back. We're speaking with Mercy's Dr. David Maine, Sister Helen Amos, and Caroline Senatore, our guests for the 150th anniversary and first ever live edition of Medoscopy. Now, Mercy's 150th birthday is not a one-and-done affair by any stretch of the imagination. We're looking at a 5-year campaign. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct, yes.
If she believes that it is.
She believes that it is. Okay, your 5-year mission to explore wonderful new philanthropy and so forth, get people to benefit us. So what is that like to try to take on something like that, to come to people, particularly in our, supposedly not so great economy, depending on who you talk to, and get them to want to say, yes, I'm going to donate. Yes, I want to be supportive of what you're doing. How hard is that to accomplish?
We have a wonderful story to tell, and we find that audiences are open to hearing about how Mercy has stuck with its mission and adapted to the times, made necessary innovative moves, and I think people are happy to join in the effort.
Dr. Maine, what's your thought?
Well, I think, as Sister said, it's a beautiful story, and we're very proud of the work, and we think the community is very proud of the work. And whether folks give time or treasure, it all counts. It all makes a difference. It all pushes us forward. And this celebration is not just about the last 150 years, it's about the next 150 years and how we continue to fuel that work to carry on the work of Mercy. And so folks are inspired by it, we're inspired by it, and we have lots of needs. We don't do it alone, we can't do it alone. And we're proud to have Partners in Mission join us. And so it's really a joy for us to tell the story. And I think it brings great joy to those who support us, again, either with time or treasure. It's a really special place.
Caroline?
Oh, I agree with both. We also have 2 of the best fundraisers in town, in Sister Helen and Dr. David Maine. So we're very, very lucky that way. I think it was an extraordinary moment in time for Mercy. to launch sort of a one-of-a-kind major campaign. And I think the groundswell of support very early on was incredibly inspiring, and I think that propelled us forward pretty instantly. The Board of Trustees, the whole Mercy family stepped forward in a way that I think is sort of unparalleled to anything before. And we have an amazing Mercy family that's been behind. It's a collective effort on the part of hundreds. So I think we're really lucky.
I think you all mentioned the importance of the Mercy story, and the story is a powerful one. And part of that story also includes how Mercy decided that, you know, we want to take a look at women's health. Gallup survey was done. Representatives of the hospital visited hospitals throughout the United States to take a look at what they were doing for women's health. I remember we had a doctor here once tell me, you know, it takes more to make a women's health center than pastel wallpaper and flowers on the table. We did it right. We went out and we recruited people who had that reputation. And we started the Center for Women's Health and Medicine. Now, we are 150 years old, but the Center for Women's Health has also recently celebrated an anniversary, did it not?
30th.
30 years.
The 30th anniversary.
And you had an event as well to honor some of the folks, some of the key players who helped, so the jewels in the crown, as it were, who helped make all that come about.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that was probably pretty satisfying to see that all kind of come to fruition from what started as an idea and in a select few people's minds that, you know, this is what we need to do, and then to see where we are today.
I mean, we have incredible women's health providers. They really are just some of the finest providers in the country across all the needs for women's health. And so it was really a wonderful opportunity to not just celebrate those individuals who started our Center of Excellence in Women's Health, but how much it has grown and how broad our services are and the kind of complete care we can provide for women's health to make sure they can be the healthiest versions of themselves. And so to be able, again, to tell that story, to celebrate those doctors, to share it with patients and their families who feel such a bond to this program, it was really a joy for us.
So let's turn, we talked about the past when we first started the show. Let's talk a little bit more about the present and the future. Now, what are you each most excited about in terms of where Mercy is now and what might be on the horizon?
Well, I want to say what excites me the most is seeing how our partners in mission, our nearly 6,000 partners in mission, are really taking it on their own shoulders to behave to act in behalf of the community in the way that the sisters did. We don't have 35 sisters living here anymore, but we have wonderful partners in mission who have absorbed that spirit and act out of it. That's what excites me.
And as you were saying that, it reminded me about Mercy's ambassador program, where it's trying to take basically the concepts of the Sisters of Mercy, their mission, reaching out to people and making sure that idea, that theme is really imprinted upon every employee.
Yeah, that they know if they're wearing a Mercy badge, they're representing everything that Mercy means, and what and the foundation that the sisters laid here is an imitable foundation.
A lot of other things have been happening in the last 30 years. We had the Mary Catherine Bunting Center was opened. We've seen this growth of the different primary specialty care sites. Well, we talked about ringing the beltway. Now that we have Mercy Personal Physicians in Lutherville, Hunt Valley, Glen Burnie. We have presence in Annapolis. We have presence in Ellicott City. Reaching out, so we're downtown, but that Mercy tradition, that Mercy mission is spreading beyond that. So you're sort of having like, you're having your cake and eat it too, basically.
Crab cake.
Very Baltimore.
Good one, right?
And, you know, we're seeing some really interesting technologies here now. I had the opportunity to work with Dr. Sarkar recently with his work in robotic bronchoscopy. And of course, Drs. Gushin and Sardi and the cutting edge work they're doing with the HIPEC procedure. that is literally saving people's lives, people who have been told they only may have had months to live who are now living years out. And it's happening here at Mercy Medical Center, not one or two of these other hospitals that maybe sometimes people would generally think of. I'm not going to mention them because this is a Mercy show, but you know what I'm talking about. So if we were to put a copy of this evening's program in a time capsule, not to be open for another 150 years, what would you hope people would understand about Mercy when it comes time to open that capsule?
Well, I'm going to go first because
Go right
she
ahead.
answers questions so well that I have nothing to say afterward. Well, I think, when people come in here today who are new to Mercy, they will often say things like, there's just something that feels different. Sometimes it's an intangible. Sometimes it's very tangible, and you can point your finger on it. But there's something special about this place. 150 years later, there's something special about this place. And what I would hope is that when someone opens that capsule in another 150 years, that we're able to convey that message, whether it be through recordings, whether it be through the work of Mercy, some of which you described, whether it addresses that sacred relationship of caring for someone. You talked about how we care for people here in Baltimore City. We care for people all over the state. We draw from every zip code. And that's a testament to Mercy, to what is unique about Mercy. Great providers, great people. There aren't sisters of Mercy all over the place, yet we live, we breathe, we own the mission and the legacy that is the Sisters of Mercy, and that is only strengthening. We're not just trying to maintain it, we're strengthening it, and if you can, I think we do and can convey that today, and I think people feel it every single day they walk through our doors.
Well, it isn't by accident that Mercy's been here for 150 years. As they would say, it must be doing something right. So that's really fantastic. I'd like to thank our guests, Dr. Maine, Sister Helen Amos, Caroline Senatore, for taking part in tonight's very special live edition of Medoscopy. And many thanks to the master of the Irish box accordion, Billy McComiskey, who may take us out with a few wee notes, if he is so inclined. Thanks to everyone in our studio audience and for all of you watching. On behalf of myself, the Sisters of Mercy, and the Mercy staff, we wish you good health and humor. And until we gather again, may the road rise up to meet you. You stay through the credits for one more thing. We have the cake. For those who may not be able to see, a happy birthday cake. We have the party guests. We just need the song, and you all know how it goes. Billy, everybody, on three.
Okay.
On three. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mercy. Happy birthday to you. All right, happy birthday, Mercy. Go for it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Medoscopy.